One phrase we hear being tossed around a lot is toxic masculinity. But what does that mean? What does that look like exactly? Well, as usual, there's a medicine wheel for that. Our modern society expects certain things out of men. These are not always healthy or wise. They often prioritize things that really should be secondary at best. This way of living rarely brings happiness. It alienates those who love us most. It's no wonder many men are confused and don't know how to act. Our capitalistic society tells them one thing, their heart another. How do they earn respect? That's a trick question, because respect from others is the wrong goal. Feeling good about ourselves because a section of society endorses our actions can make us feel successful, but that's not the right goal either. Appreciation and respect must come from within. We must be able to clear our heads of thoughts that center on impressing others, revenge, getting ahead, and imaginary conquests. I'll do a video on the medicine wheel that describes healthy men and toxic femininity later, but for now, let's look at this toxic masculinity wheel. In the South, the direction of emotions, a toxic man needs to be in control. If he can't control others and the outcome of events, he loses his temper. He wants people to act in certain ways, especially his partner. He may even dictate that they dress according to his demands. If things don't go exactly as he believes they should, he simply cannot adapt. Instead, he becomes angry. In the Southwest, the direction of interpretation, he uses people to get what he wants. He believes people are like pawns on a chessboard. He exploits pain and weakness to bring about the emotions needed to get his way. He knows exactly which buttons to push to set you off, and he delights in doing so. He feels this shows how well he knows people and how easily he can manipulate them. People are merely a means to an end in his world. Now, just because we're describing toxic masculinity doesn't mean that women can't act in these ways too. In fact, they often do. Men don't have exclusivity when it comes to toxic masculinity. We've all seen women losing their temper and trying to control others.
Get on camera! I'm being threatened by a man into the ramble. Please send the cop for me.
And there are gay men and transgendered people who can also act like this. In the West, this person prioritizes money and things over people. They won't hesitate to ask you to do what they would rather not. They don't care about who gets hurt or how many lives are ruined, as long as they get their way. In the Northwest, the direction of planning and patterns, toxic masculinity is demonstrated by the rebel. This isn't the person who goes against laws that defy common sense to save innocent people. No, this is a rebel who uses his physical strength to break laws and have his way. He has no respect for what might be considered common decency. In the North, the place of wisdom, this toxic person is stubborn. They follow inflexible beliefs that are often illogical. These are based on what he alone believes to be acceptable. If he is surrounded by thieves and drug dealers, he will adopt their behavior. If he works for a company that takes advantage of the elderly for profit, that will also become acceptable. When challenged, he will base his response on what his colleagues do. This is a person living on the circle of foxes. His behavior is based on the opinions of everyone around him. When criticized, he points to others and says, "Well, they did it," or "I'm not the first person to do it." It's classic whataboutism. The Northeast stands for timing and choreography. Someone with toxic masculinity is violent and explosive. They're irrational. They don't take the time to stop and think. They react on impulse. This uncontrollable rage and violence often results in actions with devastating consequences that can't be undone or forgiven. The East stands for enlightenment and illumination. This person has a false sense of pride. They get their sense of self from others. They believe people will never cross them if they are unpredictable, angry, and violent. Instead of being compassionate and empathetic and trying to understand another viewpoint so they can work together for solutions, they want to control others' actions through the threat of violence. The Southeast stands for attitude and approach. Their approach to life is revenge. They've been hurt in the past, but they bury this pain. They've made an internal vow to never be hurt again. If they've been wronged, others should suffer too. They push down their emotions as being a sign of weakness and only allow themselves to feel anger. They actually enjoy the pain and suffering of others. It makes them feel powerful and not alone. This person could also be called a sadist. So if that's the toxic masculinity wheel, what does healthy masculinity look like? I'm so glad you asked. I'll be doing a video on that and the medicine wheels that describe healthy femininity and toxic femininity soon. So if you'd like to watch them, please subscribe and hit that bell so you'll be notified. And if you'd like to learn more, consider following me on Patreon, where I get more in depth. Thank you very much for watching.